So we're about a week or two, I would say, into the big changes that David Zaslav has been making, along with his team over at WBD, Warner Bros. Discovery, and the numerous, studios that are being created out of, these decisions, out of this quarterly meeting that they did, this earnings call. And there are some, ideas and decisions that were announced that people are cool with, people find fascinating, are actually happy about. I mean, one of them is the fact that DC is getting their own studio, and eventually, it looks like right now, they have their eyes on somebody. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find who that might be. Go to one of my subscriptions. Greg Burleton. Greg Burleton is being eyed apparently as, the potential answer to a Kevin Feige for DC. And if that's true, depending on his reputation, that'll be a great move. But when it comes to David Zaslav, though, he is going to get criticism. As a matter of fact, he's already getting some negative criticism because of some of the decisions he and his team are making. And I'll say this, if you're someone like David Zaslav and you're making decisions already along with your team, that's already getting people, to, basically go against you, feel like maybe this decision to put you in charge is not the best choice around, then it definitely tells me that David Zaslav is the kind of person that in his position of power, along with his team members, like a Kathleen Finch and whoever else, and Aaron Horn, you name it, it kind of tells me that they're the kind of people, mostly David Zaslav, that is going to have a lot of O.J.T. on-the-job training, in his position for the next several years of, his run on top, as the CEO, of Warner Bros. Discovery. He's got a lot of O.J.T. coming his way. Now, he does have people like an Aaron Horn, from what I understand, to help supervise him in these areas. Now, there's no doubt that he does show a lot of favoritism to non-scripted, reality-based television and documentaries and all that, and that's cool. Everybody, has the love of that kind of stuff no matter what, especially if it's presented well. But I think one of the lessons David's going to learn, if not learning already, through talking with people like Aaron Horn and maybe a Kathleen Finch and others, is, yes, you can have non-scripted, programming, reality-based like programming or reality-inspired like programming, in documentaries and films on your services, and that's fine, on your networks, and that's fine, but you gotta balance it out with scripted programming as well. You have to have scripted programming as well. As a matter of fact, according to something that Yellow Flash 2, I think, did a video on, I'm trying to find it here. Yellow Flash 2 did a video on, if I can find it. I don't know if it moved or anything. But apparently they're going to be bringing in a boss, if you will, a boss for the CW. So in other words, they're giving response. So in other words, what's going on is it sounds like they're going to give responsibilities, like different positions of power, similar to a CEO, for the divisions. Yeah, it says, let's see, Warner considering CW boss, if you will. Yeah, it's for, I think, the network. As a matter of fact, let me mute this real quickly. But yeah, apparently, according to Yellow Flash 2, they are considering bringing somebody in. It says, it says, Warner considering CW boss for DCEU. Kevin Smith would love this. Basically, they are considering, well, actually, it sounds like what they're considering is the person in charge of CW right now to be in charge of the DCEU, which may or may not be the best solution. And if that is that Greg Blanton, that Greg person, if you will, that Greg Blanterin, I believe, we'll have to see. Maybe you have a different Greg Bartleton, he might be a good choice. Maybe he has the experience to be able to differentiate what the DC is on television and streaming services compared to what it should be on the big screen. But that's a choice that either is gonna bite them in the rear or not. If he is being considered, being looked at as a potential candidate. But like I said, if he is looked upon as somebody that may potentially bring something good to the DCEU or whatever, but yet he has a reputation to where everything he touches has to be dramatic, has to be team dramas and stuff like that, which the CW has been known for, it may not be a good decision. And again, this is something that David Zaslav, like I said, he's going to learn, which is why he hired people like Aaron Horn to come on board. Because with someone like Aaron Horn at his side, he's able to potentially learn, like I said, O.J.T, on-the-job training, learn what decisions he can make that benefits everybody and what kind of balancing he needs to make. I mean, I get he wants to put a lot of emphasis on non-scripted reality programming. We all know that, and that's perfectly fine. But again, you can't just put your main focus on that and ignore everything else. And hopefully that's what Aaron Horn and some of the people he will encircle himself with will get through his head. Like, look, you got some great ideas and everything to freshen things up, but you need to have scripted programming along with the non-scripted to balance things out. So to me, when I look at some of these decisions that David Zaslav is making, and with the potential rumor, and sometimes people make a big deal out of nothing because of all these changes, but with the potential rumors, according to Comic Book Cast 2 and others, that Doom Patrol could be on the chopping block, if you will, on HBO Max. Doom Patrol and Titans, they might be on the chopping block. We'll just have to see. Sometimes, again, like I said, people make a big ado about nothing. Because sometimes, they're just hearing rumors and, and speculation of, oh, this is what, well, if this happened, then this potentially is going to happen, and we got to keep an eye out for that. And, because to them, when they look at someone like David Zaslav making all these decisions, to them, nothing is safe. Nothing, is safe whatsoever. I mean, there's even rumors, according to Comic Book Cast 2, that the second Batman's in limbo, which I highly doubt. Again, they're just going off of a lot of reports of, things that, people are speculating about because they're not too sure. They're not too sure exactly what, what is on the table and what is safe and everything. I mean, some people still feel like Harley Quinn, as I check something here, Harley Quinn, despite, getting a fourth season greenlit, very quietly and everything, and having episodes already named and ready to, be associated with the new animations, people still feel Harley Quinn, could be on the chopping block too. But again, I think people just make a big ado, about nothing really. They just make a big ado about nothing, and they worry too much. They just worry too much because, oh, the Batgirl got canceled. It got chopped. Scooby-Doo Holiday Haunt got chopped, and these were mostly complete. They just needed post-production visual stuff and all that. And yeah, that does give, give someone the case to worry, but I think over time, there will be certain people, in my opinion, that will go around David Zaslav, and they will tell him, David, like I mentioned earlier, they'll tell him, David, some of these decisions you want to make are great, but you need you need to really reevaluate your decisions. We know you want to save money, but sometimes, there are other ways to save money besides cutting off and canceling all these great shows and movies that people want to see and people are supportive of. So I think when we look at all these reports of Doom Patrol and Titans and all these other shows potentially in danger of being canceled, and all these other projects potentially in danger of not happening, we have to take them with a grain of salt, because people are just making a big, exaggerated ado, big exaggerated, mess out of nothing right now. And they need to not do that. They need not to do that, because the more they do it, the more, the more it may encourage someone like a David Zaslav. I mean, David Zaslav could hear this kind of stuff and be like, hey, if they think we're going to do it, then let's do it. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So in my opinion, just take a lot of these, reports and everything, the speculations with a grain of salt. Because when I look at someone like David Zaslav, yeah, he might be, as many people are saying, right now the best solution to reset things, get the company overall back on its feet, back to its prominence that it once had. But that he's also going to be the kind of guy like a Bob Chapek over at Disney, whether you like Bob Chapek or you don't, and you hear all these reports of whether he's going to be gone or he's going to stay or whatever, just like Chapek is doing right now, Zaslav's going to be doing the same thing. And that's basically having O.J.T. while he's on the job, while he's in this position. And that's that on-the-job training. And what that on-the-job training means, as I mentioned, is he's going to have to listen to a lot of the people he surrounds himself with, like an Aaron Horn, a Kathleen Fincher, whoever, who will try to at least convince him you need to have a balance of, yes, you can have your non-scripted reality shows and everything, and that's a focus you need to look at, but you also have to have a focus of having a balancing out of also having scripted shows to go along with it, so that both sides of the party, both male and female, as one depiction has put it, can have their cake and eat it too, without worrying about being left out for seconds or whatever. But yeah, I think David Zaslav, honestly, I think he does have good intentions in mind. Like I said, he wants to have that structure, that blueprint for years to come, to get from point A to point B. But I think he's also going to have a lot of O.J.T. on the job training, while he's in this position. And it's going to be a lot of people like an Aaron Horn and others that are going to hopefully talk him into, realizing, hey, you don't cut a lot of stuff. Here's a lot of stuff that we have coming down the pipes. Let's let that go through and see what happens. But as far as everything else that's already there, let's leave that and everything, and try to create a balance. I'm sure they're telling them that, hey, you want to do this plan. Part of this plan is creating a balance. That's why Marvel and Disney, are able to do what they do with their stuff, because they have a bit of a balance. And that's probably what they're going to tell them. You want to go through with this, multi-year plan to, reset the studio, get it back on its feet. That's great and everything, but let's make sure we have a balance, between the non-scripted and the scripted shows and movies, under our umbrella, as part of that plan, so that nobody gets left out. So to me, Zaslav, he's going to be, for quite a while, in my opinion, going to be doing a lot of O.J.T. on-the-job training in this position, because, again, he may know reality TV, but he doesn't know non-reality TV and programming and movies. And that's where the training is going to come in. But let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think he's got a lot of training to do ahead of him? How do you feel about it? Do you think he's got the right people ahead of him? Let me know down below. And until next time, guys, I got to get ready for work. And I am out.